Hi everyone. So update. It's been a total nightmare. Um, Last week was really hard, like really hard. Um, I don't even remember where I left off, but basically um, I think the last video was that his wound opened, right? So the gap, I think the title of the video was The Gap That Wouldn't Close or something. Um, and we're still there. There's been no change, no major improvement. There's not a lot that we can do as far as I understand it. The thing is that um, he has an infection, most likely, probably bacterial. We've done a swab. We were hoping to get the swab back today or even yesterday, but that didn't happen. So we're still waiting on that. I'm hoping tomorrow. I don't know. They said 5 days, and there was a weekend, so it's been 5 working days now, and it still hasn't come through. We still don't have his biopsy results either from the amputation, and both of those things are important because they can both sort of give a helping hand in the healing process. In that, if we pin down the bacteria, we can pinpoint the exact antibiotic that he needs. He's doing 2 different wide spectrum antibiotics right now. And the biopsy results would give us an idea of whether or not the tumor was malignant or benign. And it's probably most likely malignant, but slow moving or medium moving. If it's a benign tumor, then they could do some laser. I don't know how it works, if it's like a cauterization or if it's just to promote the cell growth, is what they were explaining to me. In any case, they can't do that if it's cancer, because if it's cancer, it just promotes the growth of the cancer cells as well as regular cells. So it's not recommended. So it's unlikely that I'd be able to do that in any case, or we'd be able to do that in any case. So the timeline looks like it's going to take approximately weeks to a month for this to heal. It has to heal from the underside because the top seams of his wound have already healed, so they healed open basically, and so there's no way to join them together anymore. He has to produce tissue under the scar, and it'll seal itself from underneath basically. There's a name for it. I know it in Italian. It's called a secondary healing process. Sorry, hello. You gonna move? Gotta move your butt. There you go. You sitting over there on the plastic? All right. I'm not really gonna get close up on the wound, but it's still very, very open. His muscle is still visible, and it looks awful. And because there's an infection, there's pus as well. Not huge amounts, luckily, but it's enough that it's sticky and messy. And so I've got towels and things down around the house where he can sleep and stuff. But the things like the litter box are a problem, because when he goes into the litter box and stuff, he gets stuff stuck onto his wound. So I had to switch out his litter for a silica litter, which he has used for most of his life. In reality, I switched to a bentonite based one a while back because being an outdoor cat, he was mostly using the great outdoors to do his business, and so he stopped using his litter box at home. And so I thought to promote his using his own litter box at home, that something more similar to sand or dirt was better than the silica. Um, and it worked. He was using it and preferred it, but I've had to switch him back because the thing with bentonite is that as soon as it touches humidity, it sticks to it really, really hard. Um, and it was like encrusting his wound and getting into his wound as well, which was causing problems, I think. So I've switched him to a silica one, which is still sticky, but it comes off way easier. Like I can get it to come off as soon as it's on there. It doesn't stick as much as the bentonite. The bentonite absorbs humidity and gets really, really, it's porous. It's super porous, and so it just really sticks hard. Last week was really hard because the wound was just getting worse and worse, and it looked like I think it was getting worse and worse. It was opening more and more and more. Stitches were coming undone. He's lost a bunch of stitches. They had to take some of the stitches out because they just weren't holding anymore, and the skin was ripping and stuff like that. It's really graphic. Friday afternoon, I took him into the vet. So I've been going in every day for shots and his medication. It's a pain meds basically, and his antibiotics. He was also doing anti-inflammatories because he had a fever for a few days. And on Friday, basically, I went in, and one of the vets who had participated, so to speak, in the amputation saw him. So it's a big clinic. There's lots of vets, and I generally see the same people more or less, but on occasion I get somebody different because that other person isn't available. So anyway, I went in and saw this woman. She was there during the amputation. She helped with the amputation, and she kind of freaked out because the interior of the wound was really, really messy. Like there was pus and matter inside that isn't supposed to be there. And so she ended up like having to heavy-handedly really clean out his wound, which meant me holding Ghosty down. And so I had the front of his body in my hands, and I was head to head with him, and she was at the back end with another woman. So it was three of us holding him down. The other one was holding his back leg to hold him in place, while this other woman, Michaela, ended up cleaning out his wound, which meant inserting like tongs, basically, pincers, long-nosed pincers into the wound to pull out all of the material that was in there. So it was horrifying. Like I was in shock after I left, and I was in tears for that whole afternoon and evening. I couldn't function because it was just so horrifying. It was like something out of a horror film. From now on, they have to do a daily cleanse of the wound because he's got a pocket basically, so it's an empty space under the skin. It's not it's an open wound, but it's not like it's bleeding, right? So it's not touching any capillaries or vessels or anything like that. It's skin separated from muscle, and there's a pocket. Today, when I went in, they said it was looking pretty good, that it was clean, and that the timeline, they said, is, I think I already mentioned this, but anyway, the timeline was about weeks to a month. And that's basically it. The only thing we can really do, aside from waiting for this swab test to come back is put on a certain kind of scar cream, I guess. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a cream that activates tissue. So we've been doing that on a regular basis. And she suggested try putting a big Band-Aid on, like one of those big patch Band-Aids. But I don't know that that would hold, just because he bends. It's sort of in a spot that bends, and so, and he has fur. His fur is growing back. He was shaved, but he's still got quite a lot of fur there. So yeah, you can see that that whole section has been shaved, but it's quite dense with fur again. And so I don't know that a Band-Aid would hold. I did buy some. I've got this thing. It's a strip of Band-Aid. And I was gonna put some of the cream on it and see if I could get it on him maybe tomorrow morning. I was gonna let him rest a bit this evening. So currently his gap that's not closing is approximately, I'd say, an inch by a quarter of an inch long by a quarter of an inch wide, approximately. It might be a bit more than that. Yeah, in centimeters, it's probably about 2 to 3 centimeters long and about a centimeter and a bit wide. Other than that, he's in pretty good spirits when he's on his medication. When he's got the painkillers, he's okay. He plays. He's got good appetite. He's eating. And I've basically, I don't know, it's a roller coaster. So like I said, Friday and Saturday, I was in a total state. Over the weekend, my boyfriend was here. We went to the vet together. He asked questions that I hadn't thought of asking. And my nerves have come down to a more normal level. Also because I know what needs to happen now. The day that I went in and they did the deep clean, I was in shock because I didn't realize that was even possible, and the fact that she was putting in all these tools and stuff just made it look awful. So I was really, I mean, the whole thing creeps me out anyway, because it's like I can see my cat's muscle. And it's just not something that I think we are supposed to see. Inside parts of the body should stay inside. And, I'm not I don't, I'm not I don't fear gore, if you know what I mean. But at the same time, when it's me or somebody I love and they've got, major things going on, I sort of panic a bit. And so I think, yeah, that's, for now, I'm getting used to it. Getting used to having him. He's just in one room. He's confined to the bedroom. I've got towels and these plastic, I've already talked about these, but anyway, these plastic pee pads for beds, for elderly or incontinent people. I've got a step for him to get onto the bed, and then there's a scratching pad over there. It's like a cardboard scratch thing that he usually scratches his nails on, and he usually sleeps on it on occasion or lays on it. I've put a towel on it because I figure that cardboard isn't the best material for him to be laying on, because it just gets dirty and I can't clean it. So at least the towels I can clean. So I've taken all of the cardboard cat beds or cat scratchers out of the room, which makes it difficult for him because I think he would like to claw a bit, but he can't. I don't think it's the best thing for him right now. So yeah, sorry, this has been a long video. I'll put in some video of him playing so that you guys could get some kitty kitty time rather than just me talking. And I'll check in again, hopefully, when I've got the results, at least from the tests, so the biopsy and the swab. Um, but that said, I think he's doing well. All you know, all round, I think he's doing fairly well. Um, the situation is crappy for me and for him because he's got to wear a collar for the next month. Um, but he'll get used to it. I have to figure out a way. Maybe I should get a second one. I might have to get a second one because I need to get this one off of him and wash it because it's just gross. I've been cleaning it, like disinfecting it with a topical disinfectant and water, so wiping it down as much as I can, but it's stained. And so I'd like to get it off of him and into the washing machine so I can wash it. I might have to buy another one. They're not cheap, but they're not super expensive either. Anyhow, I will update when I've got a bit more information and when, yeah, when there's a bit of change, I suppose. Bye.